My name is Anna Ortiz, and I'm a 2024 artist resident at the Sam and Adele Golden Foundation for the Arts. My work is primarily focused on exploring the duality of my Mexican-American identity. I grew up going to Mexico. My grandfather made a living as a portrait painter, and my aunt is a sculptor, and they encouraged me from a very early age to pursue art. Having grown up seeing myself as Mexican and speaking Spanish in the home, we were distanced, and I lost a lot of my Spanish, and I didn't go to Mexico for a really long time. And then I started really reconnecting to the place as an adult, relearning my Spanish and just reconnecting with a lot of the stories, the mythologies of the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Toltecs and the Zapotecs. So the paintings are a lot about resilience and exploring a space of ambiguity and a place that's somewhere between my memories of Mexico and my imagination of the place. I incorporate a lot of figures with two sets of eyes as a way of thinking about unfulfilled destinies. Reflections started coming in pretty recently. I think in part it's metaphor for identity and looking within, getting someone else's perspective on who you are and how you appear. This is Cihuacoatl, and she is a goddess of childbirth and therefore death. And the Aztecs considered childbirth like war because it was a matter of life and death going into it. Women who survived were considered heroes. And I wanted to make my own version of her, but in my terms. One of the important points of maturity as an artist is realizing your weaknesses. No one's gonna tell you that your palette is not interesting and that your compositions are flat. And you have to be really self-critical in a positive way where you can challenge yourself. I realized that my color was just kind of all over the place and didn't make any particular sense. So I just reduced it way down. By doing that, I'm actually able to do a lot more with color. There's only so many things that you can do. You have to play by their rules. And there's nothing intuitive about it. And I think that was an important lesson to learn, is that for me, color is actually science. So now I think about color as a filter. It's a way to invite you into this space that I'm building, this world between worlds. So one of the last things on earth I thought I was gonna try was watercolor. But Kathy is one of the materials application specialists, and her presentation on core was so compelling that I felt really compelled to try the watercolors, which is not something I was expecting at all. I'm considering using it as an underpainting for the oils, maybe just working out ideas, just sketches. I think that my process will change after being here. I'm still mulling over a lot of the materials and options, but I feel like I'm leaving here with a lot more technical skill than I came in with.
My name is Lilian Martinez, and I'm a 2024 artist resident at the Sam and Adele Golden Foundation for the Arts. Before coming here, I was mostly working with acrylic paint and wax crayons on canvas, linen, and on paper. And now I work with oil paints as well. Well, this one was my first oil painting that I've ever made. And I'm super excited about it because the colors are so vibrant and rich and creamy. And then this was my second oil painting. So this is a woman relaxing in nature, and she's browsing on her phone. She's on eBay. She likes to buy secondhand. And this is her cow. That's her friend and her muse. So there's a lot of playfulness and humor in my work. I like to create a visual language for people to connect with. I really enjoy working with the oils. It's not as intimidating as I thought it was going to be. There are various stages of joy throughout my process. Since my work is very rooted in playfulness, the subjects feeling safe and free, that helps me create, I think, a space for myself where I feel like that. And I hope that the viewer also can feel that reflected back at them. I try to use things that I'm inspired by, like food. Looks delicious and it's fun to draw. So I've created this visual language where there's signifiers. A dog represents prosperity and healing. A basketball will represent movement and playfulness. Recently, I've expanded on the theme of boundless femininity that exists outside of systems. So that means it could really be anything. It could be messy, it could be playful, it can be strong. It can be maybe things you don't typically associate with femininity. I've started archiving the colors that I use to sort of create a palette and remember how I'm mixing certain colors that I want to go back to. Since getting here, I feel like I discovered a lot of colors that I was trying to create in acrylic, and they just already exist in oil, which was so interesting to me. I was really interested in recreating this waxy texture on canvas. So when I got here and I learned about fiber paste and the pastel ground, I thought that was the answer that I was searching for. But actually, I really like the molding paste. It has this super waxy, beautiful line to it. These textures just look so nice together. So that was a big revelation for me. And then I realized I could also use molding paste to make sculptural, three-dimensional things. I was not expecting to make three-dimensional work when I signed up for this residency. I want to do more sculpture, but I struggle working with very hard material. So finding out that I could use the fabric hardener, the GAC 400, to make sculptural pieces out of fabric was really exciting. The best advice that I feel I've received is create opportunities for yourself and take your own advice. And guess who said that? Me.
My name is Antonius-Tin Bui, and I'm a 2024 artist resident at the Sam and Adele Golden Foundation for the Arts. What you see here is my wall of experimentation, a fraction of all of the materials I've played with during my time at Golden. Having this wall set up is a really important reminder to insist on play and experimentation during my time here. It's been really special being able to work within the medium of paint after almost 12 years of not touching paints whatsoever. I predominantly work in large-scale hand-cut paper portraiture. And being here has allowed me to develop my own language, understanding that my cut paper work, my work with textiles and performance are not so separate from paints. So much of my practice is invested in what is possible within the rupture, the importance of breaking, shattering old systems, and building anew from there. Often, whenever my parents, aunts, and uncles threw parties, they would ask the kids to put on fashion shows, which then asked each of us to develop a persona, to construct outfits, to do a runway, and then to also put on a wacky talent portion. And so every single time they got drunk, we got to reinvent ourselves. So one week I could be the goth girl, the next week I could be the snobby princess. And it really encouraged me to just play with color, textures, to not feel limited to a singular role. So spread across this table are a variety of skins. It is just so luscious, malleable, tactile. It really appeals to me as a performer, as someone who constantly is renegotiating my relationship with the body. They feel like a true archive of touch. They're able to hold on to the memory of the performance. This ever-changing shape is an amalgamation of cyanotypes created using flora and fauna gathered during my walks on the trails. And so what I do is respond to the organic lines and shapes created using milkweeds, thistles, whatever I find. I love how it can dismember, it can pollinate itself. Every time I return to this figure, it feels like I'm giving it an offering. It feels very akin to what I've been personally trying to do, which is unlearn my understanding of identity. As someone who is deeply aware that they are a guest on this land, a child of Vietnamese refugees who has learned to assimilate into America, unlearning ideas around land and citizenship feels really important. Before entering my own studio practice, I oftentimes do improvisational movement. As an untrained dancer, I do that to return to beginner's mind, to embrace failure, and to be okay with whatever is about to unfold. I suspect I won't fully understand the impact of this residency for years, possibly decades to come. And that's due to the amount of support and resources that were provided. I am so excited to know that every single year, cohorts will come and get to bask in the magic of this place. And to know that every single year, my Golden family grows, that I can return to something even bigger and better.